How y'all doing today? Step back so you can get a look at that shirt again. Whole nother shirt. It's in white. Yeah. How y'all doing today? My name's Ayin, and today's topic of discussion is going to be dealing with selfish will make you selfish. Dealing with selfish will make you selfish. One of the ways that I came to thinking about this topic is I kind of thought back on some of the past instances of me dealing with individuals, and like we always say on this channel before, you're not out to try to change anybody. You're trying to enhance your relationships. You're trying to enhance on how you deal with people. You're wanting to approach things in a healthy way, deal with people in a healthy way. And one of the things that I had realized after some time I'm really thinking of one individual. I'm thinking of one individual just in this moment of me saying it, but this applies to multiple people. You're allowing a person to be themselves, and you start to notice over time that they're selfish. They're selfish in their dealings. And what I mean by selfish in their dealings is they're selfish in their conversation. They're selfish in how they just overall approach the interaction with you. And to kind of elaborate on this even further, I'm thinking about from the standpoint of, I'll look at one situation at hand, how dealing with one individual, they may be like, well, I don't want to talk about this. I don't want to talk about that. And you're like, okay, that's cool. We'll go ahead and we'll steer this somewhere else. And they may start talking about something that's not ideal for you. So maybe you're like, you know what? I don't feel comfortable on that topic. Let's drop it. But no. You got to hear. You got to see. Hear me out. And that's just the tip of the iceberg on what I'm talking about. This goes a variety of ways. Just dealing with people that's selfish in general. You're steadily trying to prove your position in their life, that you care about them, because they're throwing these pity stories about through their actions, through their words, that they're alone, nobody understands them. And the more that you have to go on with this relationship, the further that this tale gets on the history that you have with one another, you start to see this is the same tune that you've always sung. Or this has been going on far too long. Then you start to notice, man, I really feel like I'm stepping outside of myself when I'm dealing with this person. The reason why I feel like I'm stepping outside of myself when I'm dealing with this person, I'm putting up with things that I normally wouldn't put up with. I'm grinning and bearing it. See, this is what really triggered me to have this topic, because when I thought about some of the ways of just trying to deal with people healthier, and I'm like, well, you know what? Just to be peaceable, let them go ahead and be them. But what I found was, in letting them be them, which is nothing wrong with that, was I was giving up a piece of myself because I was uncomfortable. Don't get me wrong. Everybody has to deal with tolerating somebody else one way or the other. But I'm talking about this goes way past the realm of just merely tolerating. We're talking about this person operating comfortably, fully on who they are. You're suppressing yourself. You're suppressing on the way that you feel. You feel uncomfortable. You got knots all up in your stomach. You're taking a few days after dealing with this person or this individual or these people or these situations. You're taking a few days to even bounce back to even being halfway full on who you need to be to get that 100% back. Where you're just like, man, it took me a couple of days to come up out of that hole off of dealing, with them or that. And that's not cool. And what has ultimately led to the topic of this video is, which you don't see it at first, because you're just trying to give and give. You're trying to meet that person where they need to be met. And you're really stepping outside of your box. You're really trying. But then what you start to see is they're not trying. How am I going to work harder than you at your situation? You don't see it at first. You don't see it at first. But in the long run, you start to see, you know what? I think you're being a bit selfish. What that'll make you do is, the more that you're dealing with somebody who's just selfish, they're focused up on themselves, they're whatever you want to say, Debbie Downers, negative, whatever the case may be, just always in a slump, going through some, whatever the case may be, it's always the focus up on them. When you're dealing with somebody who's always focused on themselves and they're just selfish, it'll cause you to be selfish. It'll force you to have to be selfish. And what I mean by to force you to have to be selfish is you have to start thinking about yourself. Because you're like, I'm just along for the ride. They're just moseying along and going on with the way that they're doing things, and I'm just along for the ride, and I don't want to be along for the ride. Then it starts making you think about self-preservation. Man, I really don't want to be in this mindset. I really don't want to feel like this after engaging with this situation or this person. So I got to protect me. Self-esteem, confidence, whatever the case may be. I got to protect me. So now I got to be a little bit selfish. Think about, do you really want that? I like to have interactions where when I'm thinking about the other person, they're thinking about me as well. It goes back to that whole 50-50 rule that I've brought up on this channel 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. We're all on a 100% scale when we're just dealing with ourselves. But when we choose to interact with someone else, we're sharing that interaction. We're on a 50-50 scale. We're sharing that interaction. It'll be some give and some take. It might be 40-60. It might be 60-40. Maybe 70-30. But what I'm talking about these people who are 80, 90%. And you squished all up into this 5-10% of the scale. Can't get a word in edgewise. It's just always about them. Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes there are situations that come up. And you may bend a person's ear. Or they may bend yours. That's not what I'm talking about. That's just part of being human. That's just a part of our nature. That's a part of interaction. That's a part of having a shoulder to lean on. Like I said on this channel many times before as well. No matter how tall we think that we're standing, we're all standing on one leg. Today, I might be standing tall and you're leaning on me. Tomorrow, it might be the other way around. I might be leaning on you. So it's some give and some take there. But I'm talking about these situations to where the person, is no better way of putting it, they're selfish. They're selfish, wrapped up in a nice little package with a bow on top. They're selfish. Dealing with them not only, like I said, drains you and just fully depletes your resources and your energy, it makes you go into self-preserve mode. And the reason why I'm bringing this topic up to talk about this today is this is something that we need to be conscientious of. Because now if I'm just dealing with a bunch of people that's like this, it's causing me to be selfish. It's almost like we're fighting for a place at the table. Keyword, fighting. I'm dealing with you today. Now, it's something that I'm going through. I don't want to have to deal with what you're bringing on the table, because you always got something on the table. Now we're having this, now having to, fight for this meal. Keyword, fight. I'm having to fight for this meal in a verbal sense, and now we're doing unhealthy interaction. These are the things that we want to avoid. We want to avoid unhealthy interactions. What does it take to get that situation healthy? We've talked about this on this channel many times before. I'm trying to take different approaches. That's what my book is about. I Am Kilimanjaro is the Arithmetic of Family Communication. You know what you're dealing with before you even get ready to go head in and deal with it. So you already need to have, your expected outcome on what to do or what you're about to experience. One of the reasons for that is because it builds resilience. So you don't get sucked into these things. And when you're dealing with these things, you're dealing with them on the basis that you're prepared to deal with them. So you don't get emotionally drawn up off into it, letting tempers flare, so you can just have a healthier interaction. So that was what I wanted to talk about. And selfish will make you deal selfishly. Is that ultimately what you want to do? Do you want all of your interactions to be like that, to where you're just you're elbowing to get your room about? Think about it. In the meantime, while you're thinking about it, follow me on other social media: Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter, Instagram. Obviously, I'm on YouTube. This is where I'm hosting my videos at. Check out that shirt again. It's white. And the other one was that tie-dye. I think that's clean. And in the meantime, stay encouraged. Avoid being discouraged. I'm Ayin. You have a good one.